me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
A lot of options in Parks and Recreation. And I think the question of what could I do, what should I go into, what should I explore in the realm of Parks and Recreation, because there is a lot to it. A lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of opportunity. So I think just those kind of questions, where could I explore? Where could I look for those opportunities?
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, Young Professionals Network. In this episode, we're spotlighting the next generation of leaders in our industry. YPN is all about students, interns, and early career professionals who are just getting started in parks and recreation or figuring out where they fit. We're bringing together voices from across the industry to talk about real career pathways, networking, internships, unconventional journeys, and how to build a future in parks and rec. Whether you have a degree, are still in school, or are learning on the job. If you're looking for mentorship, connection, and honest conversations about what it takes to grow in this field, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc, the Daily Parks and Rec Show. This is our YPN show, all towards young professionals within the Parks and Rec industry. And I just met Downick. Am I saying your name right, Downick?
That is right.
Okay, Downick. And then Michael is our first intern that's working with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. And I spoke with Michael. Help me remember her name.
Aiden.
Is it Aiden?
Aiden, yeah.
Yeah. Aiden's also coming on. So now we have 2 interns. Yay. And then Paige and Kosia and Kaylin are all with Henry County, Georgia. And they are y'all all interns, part-time workers, kind of fit somehow in that young professionals interns category? Maybe why don't we start off by each of you why don't we just go around and everybody kind of introduce themselves, and we'll go with Kaylin, Kosia, Paige, Michael, and then Dale, just to kind of introduce everyone. So Kaylin, why don't you go first?
I'm Kaylin. I'm over the after-school day camp portion of Henry County Parks and Rec. So I do the background admin part along with my supervisor. So we're all the way in.
Yep.
It's not an intern. We're Henry County Parks and Rec. Henry cares, Henry committed.
Fantastic. And when did you graduate college?
I have not. I'm still a full-time college student at the time.
Ah, fantastic. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, Kosia. Oh, and where are you going to school right now? So I guess everyone can answer kind of what they do, what their role is, what degree you're pursuing, if you're still in college, if you already graduated, when did you graduate, and what degree did you get? Which I think you covered all that, correct?
I'm currently at Albany State.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and my major is business admin.
Business admin. All right, yes. Kosia.
My name is Kosia. I started off as a facility attendant part-time about 2.5 years ago. I'm now administrative assistant, so I'm full-time now. I sit up front, answer the phones, help people that come in the office. And I am no longer in college. I graduated high school in 2019. I did a few years of college, and then I ended up getting into like trading and stuff. And then I moved to Georgia, and I've just been doing other stuff since then.
What type of trading?
Crypto, day trading.
No way. I spent a lot of, that's actually how I got into this. I started out in Bitcoin, and then I did a couple trading on some other stuff. And then I eventually came full circle, went all the way back into Bitcoin and created the Daily Parks and Rec Show. And that kind of gave me the idea to create DPRS Media Company, which is a media company dedicated to parks and recreation. But I have a huge network of Bitcoiners and crypto people. So glad to hear you. Are you still active doing that?
So I've been wanting to get back into it. I've been looking at getting into stock trading as well. I've just been having a hard time figuring out where to start. So I'll definitely check out what you have going on because I do need
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
guidance.
We can have a conversation offline about that. Or maybe we can start another show all about crypto and Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I only spent about 6 years trying to figure that out. Now I'm full bore into that. Paige?
Hi, I am the special events assistant here at Henry County Parks and Recreation. I did start off actually in the after school program about a year ago. That's how I got my foot in the door into Parks and Recreation. I graduated from Liberty University with my degree in business admin with a focus in marketing just a few months ago, actually. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Michael?
I'm a full-time college student. I go to Widener University. It's a small school right outside of Philadelphia. I'm a marketing major with a minor in communications. So I've been able to grab an internship here with Craig. He's taken me under his wing, and I'm going to be the host of this show and then also doing some of the marketing and stuff for all of it.
Fantastic. Great to have you on board, Michael. And then me and Dalnick just met a few days ago at the GRPA convention, which was one of our state conventions that asked us to come and basically cover it as a media, interview people, give talks on creating content. And he was a guest on our show. So Dalnick, why don't you kind of introduce yourself to the community here?
Well, my name is Dalnik. Thank you, Craig, for the opportunity to come back on the show. It's really a pleasure. Currently, I'm still in college. I graduated with my bachelor's last year from University of North Georgia in business management, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in sports management. So I'm currently working at Gainesville City as a recreation program coordinator. I'm over all the youth athletics. So I run all youth sports in Gainesville City. So it's pretty fun. I love what I do.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play our 300th episode. Thank you. It seems like we just made that, and I can't believe we're already at episode. Actually, I typed in the wrong episode. Ooh, and we have another guest. Let me add her to the screen real quick. Hello, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm
And
Adisa,
with-
everyone.
and help me with the pronunciation of your name.
It's called Adizat.
Adisat.
Mhm.
And so I met Adisat. She was connected with Sevi over in California, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so we just actually finished our last introduction, so you can kind of hop in. Tell us what when you graduated college, or if you're still in college, what degree you're pursuing, or if you graduated, what degree you got, and then kind of what are you doing right now?
Sure. I'm Adizat. I am graduated. I graduated in May. So like 3 months, 4 months ago at SF State. I studied UX design. But my background originally was in engineering. I did my bachelor's degrees in engineering, and then I wanted like a switch just because I wanted to pursue something new. And I did UX design at SF State. And currently, I'm a UX designer, product designer, where I create like experiences with digital device, innovation, just like bridging those gaps to create products that users can use. So that's what I do currently.
And for those who don't know, can you explain what UX means in UX design?
Oh, sure. Yeah. UX means user experience. So it's basically how people interact with your products. And I'll give you, for instance, let's say Instagram or LinkedIn, for instance, is like how do users navigate and how do users actually create value using that product. So a UX designer like myself would be able to kind of map out the different pathway the users can use that platform and how to actually like create value from the user using the platform and also from like the organization's point of view. So it's kind of like bridges the gap between the organization and the users to create value for both ourselves.
And so that's somewhat of a software engineer that works directly with the user interface. So when you pull up the app on your screen, where all the buttons are and the different chat boxes and how everything shows up, you kind of design all that, correct?
Yes, so we work closely with the software engineer and the product manager. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the 300th episode. Thank you for the Daily Parks and Rec show. And I'll play this and then we'll come right back.
300 episodes. What started as a small idea, a way to share stories from the Parks and Recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories that celebrate everyday heroes. Every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who continues to inspire us, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this, to tell stories that matter. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we celebrate our 300th episode, we look ahead to the next chapter. More stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond.
All right. So that kind of gives everybody a rundown. Let's see. Trying to save the changes here. All right. Well, it doesn't want to allow me to do it. Okay, I just had to kind of click that real quick. All right. First of all, we're going to do just kind of like a work meeting, brainstorm meeting, even though this is a live performance. I like to kind of create stuff live so that people, because we have a bunch of YouTubers and content creators that follow us, and I don't get to do kind of behind the scenes, how we brainstorm, how we create content, and how we kind of organize teams together. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to just kind of show people how we kind of work behind the scenes. And so what we're doing today is Michael just recently came on as our intern, and this is, I think it's your third week, correct?
Yeah, it's the third week now.
Yes. So we're just trying to basically build up the Young Professionals Network show, which is a show that we do every Friday for young professionals. And so let me define quickly for the audience, what do we consider a young professionals? Who's a good fit for the YPN show? So when we say young professionals, we're actually talking about all the way from high school summer camp workers that are just working in the Parks and Rec industry, college students that are either in college or in college pursuing really any degree, but specifically a degree in Parks and Recreation. And then young people that are, and when I say young, we're talking about like under 30, or around that 30-ish age, all the way down to 18 years old. People that are actually working full-time or part-time in the Parks and Rec industry. So like any industry, we've got the next generation, the young professionals that come into an industry that are still trying to figure out about the industry, don't have much connection within the industry because they're brand new to it. They literally just graduated. And what you'll find is in any industry, and Parks and Rec is no different, that the older people, as they've been in here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they have a very robust network of professionals that work within the industry, and they use this as a resource for ideas. So let's say you've got a let's say Halloween event, which is something that Paige and her team just put on, and someone maybe saw a special event show that they did because we produce the rec room with them, and they were like, hey, we would love to do something similar. They can hit up Paige and say, can you give us kind of a rundown of how y'all got started? And then they don't have to start from ground zero. So that's just the benefit of having a network within an industry. And so what we wanted to do is help the Young Professionals Network. Now, the Young Professionals Network started with NRPA, which is the National Parks and Rec Association, about 8 years ago. And soon after starting this show, about a year ago, I met some of the young professionals in that network. And now all the states are starting to turn on their young professionals network for the state of Georgia, for the state of Texas, state of Florida, and all the states are in some degree of either on their third year or are trying to launch or something in between that. And really just trying to create a robust network of young professionals so that we can expedite that networking. And then you almost have like a class, almost like a graduating class where you can say, yeah, around 2025, I joined the Young Professionals Network, and you can carry those relationships with you into your career. And it just really helps you navigate a new industry. So, regardless of whether y'all stay in Parks and Recreation or move on to any other industry, it's very important for you to network within that industry. Um, and so, this is just us trying to do our part with that. And so, what we decided to do was to create a weekly show that airs every Friday, 12 noon, where we just talk about topics that the young professionals are interested in, or obstacles that they have, or things that they'd like to see done so that they have a voice and a platform to be heard. So that's kind of what we're doing today. And one thing I'd like to just go around and say, or ask each of you the question: what topics do you feel like are important to your age group? Um, where do you feel like there's room for improvement, and how can we help create a show? So what do we do with this show, and how can we use it to help that network grow? So we'll start with Dalnick, and then go Michael, Page, Kasia, Caitlin, and one more time. Is it Adiset?
Yes.
Oh, I got it right? Adiset. Okay. All right, Dalnick, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so to your question, I think the biggest challenge for me, or my biggest question, is really how to stay in the industry. So this is something that I'm looking at to stay in long term, um, build a family, stay in a job where, I enjoy what I'm doing, but I also have that work-life balance. So that's really what I'm interested in navigating. How do I stay in this industry, and how can I be successful, not only in my job, but how I impact the community, impact the kids that I work with, and overall just provide good quality sports programs.
All right. Got those two down. So how to stay in the industry and how to be successful in the industry. Michael?
I would say, as a student at a smaller school, my question would be like, what courses are you guys taking and stuff that in college gets you to that part of your life where you can work in Parks and Rec? Because I know that at my smaller school, I don't know if there really is Parks and Rec courses that you can really take that'll line you up to go into that industry. So I think that would probably be my biggest question.
All right. Paige?
I feel like something that, like I said, I started in Parks and Recreation after school program, and I was able to, with networking and connections and using the connections I had, I got my foot in the door. But then after that, there were a lot of options that were set in front of me, a lot of different directions that I saw that I could potentially go into with Parks and Recreation. I ended up having the amazing opportunity to get into the special events department, but I feel like there's a lot of options in Parks and Recreation. And I think the question of what could I do, what should I go into, what should I explore in the realm of Parks and Recreation, because there is a lot to it, a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of opportunity. So I think just those kind of questions: where could I explore, where could I look for those opportunities?
Mm-hmm. All right. And that actually, one of the things we can do is reach out to and highlight internship programs offered by departments, because there are a growing number of Parks and Rec departments that offer a college internship program across America. Not a lot of them. There's not a ton, but of the 12,000 cities, there might be like 100 that have an internship program, and the rest of them see the need and are actively trying to start an internship program. But there's enough of them that we could have the actual internship program, I'd say director, whoever's in charge of it, and their one or two interns come on the show, and then Michael could interview them and find out what they're doing. And they're all kind of different. I've had a few of them on the show, but that could be one of the things that we do with this show is just to go reach out to and find those. Henry County, Georgia has a great internship program, probably one of the best in the country. And I think Thomas runs that one for the most part. Paige, is that correct?
I think so. He definitely does bring in a lot of interns.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we could highlight internship programs for the show. And one of the things we're trying to do is, so if we have a weekly show, 52 weeks in a year, so we're trying to, and Michael, you can kind of think of this, we're trying to say, what are the 52 shows going to be about? Some of them just could be a group of interns across the country, and you could have maybe a monthly show. So 12 of the 52 shows could just be kind of like we're having right now, just an open discussion with the young professionals. And then maybe another 12 shows could be go finding the 12 programs that are more advanced further along in their journey and highlight them. And then we have like another 24 shows that maybe could be more topical, a specific topic, like what degrees, how do we stay in the industry, answering some of those questions that we've already come up with so far. All right, so Kosia, go next.
Yes. I feel like maybe there should be more advancement for people that don't have a college degree that work in the Parks and Rec department already. Um, Myself, for example, I left college after 2 years, and I've been with Parks and Rec for going on. February is going to make 3 years, and there's not really much positions that I could, if I did want to advance, there's not really much positions that I could advance to without having a bachelor's degree.
Mm. Now, to that point, I have interviewed several Parks and Rec directors across America that actually believe, just like you, that they do promote and advance people that don't have a college degree and to some of the highest levels of leadership in parks and recreation. So Auburn is one of those that I had on the show, and she promoted someone all the way up to the superintendent level. And this is someone that has like a PhD in parks and recreation. So there definitely are some opportunities out there. It's just that's the beauty of the network, is finding, making sure that you're connected to those departments that really don't have an issue with promoting. They're mainly looking for skills. And I think more and more companies, very advanced companies, Tesla's one of them that I was an early investor in and that I follow, that Elon is the first to say, hey, if you got the skills, we don't care if you've never graduated high school or if you've got a PhD. If you have the skills to do it, we will definitely hire you. And he continuously says that. And that's just a very, well-known big example of a company that does it. And I think more and more Parks and Rec departments are open to that as well. They're mainly just looking for the skill. If you have the skill to do it, and if you have any type of experience in it, that's kind of what they're looking for. All right, Kaylin?
Okay, so back to your original question. What was the original question? Because you want ideas on how we could grow Parks and Rec, correct?
How we can grow the young professionals network, and what topics may be important to y'all.
I would say how you said the 52 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What if, even if you did 1 month based on one, I wouldn't say one department, but one county with
Mm-hmm.
all different departments. So for one podcast, you could have the administrative assistants given more insight on what they do, so people know what they're getting into before they jump off the ledge for that position. For events, you go more in depth. Like they had their own after school day camp. It's very big, so it's lots of things that come with it. Break camp, after school, day camp, summer camp, next level camp. So if you did it on programming departments, then I think you'll get more insight on what every department holds.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So again, you just kind of look at 52 blocks, all the Fridays throughout a given year. We could do 12 shows highlighting each department and we could maybe even find young professionals that are working actively within those departments and really just have a deep discussion, say, around special events. And so imagine we had like 5 young professionals, all 5 of them working in special events throughout the country. And then we can go deep into what their early experiences were, what's some of the stuff that they're learning, and then maybe even have like a department head that's completely over special events to kind of help deepen the conversation. That's actually a great idea. And so, Michael, you can kind of see how it won't take long before you've got way more than 52 shows that you could do. You may have 100 shows, and then you've got to kind of filter it down and say, okay, these are the ones that we're going to highlight. We're going to highlight the 12 best internship programs. We're going to have the 12 best topics. And then we can even talk about, like you said, the courses that you could pursue. Great idea. Anything else, Caitlin?
No.
Okay. Addison?
Yeah, I actually thought of something, and I think like this kind of resonates with me because I've had like people say, "Oh, you need to take this pathway to having a career in so and so," and "Oh, you need to do this. You need to take this course, so you need to go to this university. You need to network and reach out to this person." But sometimes there's that unconventional pathway that leads you to your career, and I mean, I guess like looking into like those exceptions, those career pathway that it's not like just been straightforward. You didn't like have to do this to do this to do that, but you just like went through an unconventional route to get to that career. I guess like highlighting those unconventionals, so people can actually like relate to that because I feel like not everyone's career journey or pathway is like the same and it's not really like straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I love that. So unconventional, how can we phrase that? Unconventional career pathways. Unconventional. All right.
Yeah, I think
Go
like
ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like highlighting those things can kind of make people pinpoint like several things they can do and not just like the I think there's like a roadmap where there's networking, there is like your college degree. I think like highlighting people that have achieved careers and successful careers in a different route will kind of like let people realize that there's other ways to actually like get there.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you, well, first of all, any other ideas that have popped in any of y'all's heads after hearing everyone else's responses? Any others that might have come to mind? Oh, we're still on this. Okay. All right. One thing I've seen is that if you have, how many times are you sitting in your college classes thinking, how does this apply to the work I'm going to be doing? Because you really don't have any real world experience in that industry. You're just hoping that what you're learning applies. And then many people, after they get into their career, get into their industry, they realize that a big chunk of the learning came from just the experiential knowledge of working in that department. And so it's almost like, regardless of what you learn in school, the real learning starts when you start working within that department. And that's when all the real lessons start. Paige or any of you that are already working full time in this industry, maybe y'all can speak about the lessons that you learned after you started working that might be a little bit different than what you learned in the classroom setting. Maybe I can get Paige
Yeah.
and Kosia and Caitlin to answer that question.
So I really do like the idea of the alternative pathways to getting to where you're at. I really resonate with that because I graduated high school in 2017 and I went to 3 different colleges. I changed my major 3 different times. And then I got a job at a gym and worked there for 4 years. And then it was at that job that I found my love for marketing and data analytics and Excel and various different things like that. And that inspired me to then go back for my degree. And then that's when I was able to, using connections, I was able to get into Parks and Recreation in Henry County, Georgia. And then with everything I started learning and all the opportunities that they were giving me here to expand on what I was learning in the classroom, it inspired me more to continue to pursue my degree. So a very different pathway, especially with my college career. But I definitely learned a lot in my journey, my job journey, basically, my career journey to get me where I was. So it kind of intertwined what I learned in the classroom and what I was learning in the field. But it was definitely that learning in the field, especially with special events, that helped me get to where I was or where I am today. But yeah.
All right. Kostya, what's your experience post graduation or after you kind of started working within the industry?
Similar to Paige, I feel like I was studying something completely different in college. I was there for criminology. I wanted to become a private investigator. And so what I was doing then is completely different. It's really no relation to what I'm doing now. I feel like, if anything, I've probably gained. I used to work at Burger King a little after I graduated, and I feel like um, this role that I'm doing now has a lot to do with customer service. Speaking to people, helping people sign up for different sports and activities, helping with rentals. And I feel like my experience at Burger King and having to speak to people has equipped me more so with dealing with people every day and helping them out. And also, even when I was in high school, we had an internship program. So I interned at a law firm, and then I interned out of college in high school from sophomore year to senior year. And I feel like that has also helped with my position now more so than my experience in college, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Fantastic. Caitlin?
I would say, piggybacking off of Kosia, my previous major had nothing to do with what I'm doing now at all. I was in the criminal justice field, majoring in criminal justice, but I changed it to business admin now because I felt like that was something that could somewhat relate to what I'm doing now. Because like Michael said earlier, there's no Parks and Rec major really at schools anymore. So business admin was my next thing, my next go-to, because it's very broad. You could go anywhere with it just about. So my previous job before this, I've never worked any fast food. My first job ever was Sky Zone, customer service, dealing with kids, basically having fun all day. That's still what I do. So yes, my
Fantastic.
major had nothing to do with anything now.
And then, Dalek, now that you're kind of working full time in the industry, do you have any kind of similar experience? Kind of what are you learning where you're at?
Yeah. So I initially started college. I had no idea what Parks and Rec was because I grew up in Philadelphia. So there's no really a Parks and Recreation association in the city that I lived in. It's kind of more like Boys and Girls Club. We're doing sports through clubs or through your school. So when I moved down here, I started my business management degree and graduated. And then I was like, man, I miss sports. How do I get back into sports? And thankfully, and I think this goes for everybody that's trying to join Parks and Rec, you got to have somebody that's going to give you the opportunity. And once you get that opportunity, it's all about, learning what you can to keep growing. And my journey started at the Boys and Girls Club, started part time, and I worked my way up to a sports leagues coordinator role. And when I worked my way up, I spent the year working, coordinating leagues, and really everything that I've learned about Parks and Rec and everything I've learned about working in sports has been through the jobs that I've been at. Nothing in college prepared me for that. But when I got the sports leagues coordinator job, that's what motivated me to get the sports management master degree because I want to, put my foot in the door a little bit easier. Because when you have that degree, it opens doors, and everything else is just experience after that. So that's what led to working at Gainesville City, and I've just been taking every opportunity to, grow in my field and make friends and network and just continue building something solid that I can stand on in the future.
Fantastic. And I decided, what did you do for Sevi? Or tell us about your internship program that you had with him.
Sure. So I was the product design intern with Sevi from August to October. I just ended my internship there. And it was kind of like an independent program where I had like the opportunity to like choose a project that I wanted to work on and actually just see it to the from start to finish, so just like the entire product development. And what I did was actually create a volunteer program at Yuba Gardens. Currently, Yuba Garden Conservancy has no volunteer program, and it was quite important for them to integrate the volunteer program into the gardens to kind of develop a community. So it's quite it's in downtown San Francisco, and obviously there's like lots of sky high buildings and lots of offices over there. And it was quite important to actually like bring the community over to the gardens and just build our community. So one of the initiatives that we did was the volunteer program that I did my research on and kind of just developed it. And so one of my key deliverables that I did was actually build the website for the volunteer program. I kind of was in partnership with so many different points or so many different offices in the garden. So I was in contact with the landscape team, the operations team, to see where volunteers can be integrated into their day-to-day activities. And with that, I was able to create a landscape program where volunteers can come on the campus and actually get their hands dirty and just plant something new or like prune trees. Yeah, so that was fun. I was able to at least do 2 volunteer programs before I left. And yeah, that was like my entire program was just setting up the volunteer program. And I'm pretty sure they're going to continue it consistently over the years. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since we're a media company, we have editors and content creators that work full-time with us. They created these 2 promos, and these are examples of promos that we can create. We would like to create another one for the Young Professionals Network, and we could even create 1 or 2 minute videos that we could share, that we could put on our YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I went ahead in the private chat, if y'all each want to go and click, I think the link I sent you will bring you to our YouTube channel. Why don't one of y'all click, or all of y'all click that and then see if that's actually what it does.
Yes, it does.
Okay, could each of you go and subscribe to that one? And this is where this show will eventually get, in about a week, this will pop out of our production side, and then this very show will go into that content library. So I'm going to play 2 examples of media that we created for the industry. And then we'll talk about, when we get back, we'll talk about creating, sharing, inviting, building community, how the industry is watching, and to create something valuable for the community. So we'll play these 2 and then we'll come right back.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through... Are you a vendor, brand, or service? Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of parks and rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right, so that kind of helped everyone kind of get a better understanding as to what we're trying to do. Y'all may have heard me say we're trying to create the ESPN of Parks and Rec. And so let me kind of define that a little bit better. So imagine all the work that it took to build ESPN, the company, the media company, and how at any time, 24/7, if you're a sports enthusiast, you know that you can turn ESPN on and see something going on with regard to sports. And that they may have a regular Friday show, a regular noon show that some person will have, and let's just say it's some sports broadcaster that's maybe big into baseball, and he just covers baseball at noon every day. And then so the work that goes into creating that weekly show or that daily show, and then he is the personality that's has that personal brand attached to the show. So essentially, we're trying to do the same thing, but all things parks and recreation, so that we could have a weekly show on special events, a weekly show kind of like this show on young professionals, another one on aquatics, another one on therapeutic recreation. And then with each show, we'll have a host, kind of like Michael is, maybe even a couple of hosts. You see some of these talk shows where you have 1, 2, or 3, or a panel of 4 people, and they just show up every week or every day and talk about that one topic. You see this like in finance media, where you have these finance guys that have like a daily show all about crypto or all about, investing in the Fortune 500, something like that. And so what we want to do is create 24/7 programming that's all things parks and recreation. Now, the subject I'd like to talk about is building your personal brand. And so each of you have a personal brand. It starts with just your face. Your face is yours. It belongs to you. And how many times that when we see a famous person's face, we know what industry they're working in and how they can kind of rise up as an authority or an expert in that field. And so each of you right now have a personal brand. Now, being that y'all are young, you've had the least amount of time to build that personal brand, but you'll see influencers, content creators, even people on TikTok or Instagram. So the whole personal brand economy has just exploded. I think we've all seen that with TikTok, how my daughter's actually one of them. She has a couple 100,000 followers on TikTok. She has a little Down syndrome baby, and now she makes a couple $1,000s a month because she's get like millions of views for one little TikTok. And that's her little stay-at-home job, is just to talk about what it's like to be a parent, a new parent of a Down syndrome child. And so she's got pretty much all the new parent Down syndrome people as her audience, and those that might sympathize with her situation and want to help out or just see how her and her little baby's doing. And so you can kind of pick your own, you've already got your own personal brand is in your face, but then what are topics that you would like to build it within? And so that's going to be important for every young professional to really take some time to develop your own personal brand. And it can kind of start with just your LinkedIn profile. And so you may want to look at your LinkedIn profile and say, is this a good representation of who I am and who I aspire to be professionally? And so that's kind of like the professional point. And so has anyone, let's maybe throw that up as a topic for discussion. Let's just talk about your own personal brand, what you've done, even if you're like, you know what, I've never even really considered my own personal brand. And right now I just have a LinkedIn profile and I haven't done much work, all the way on to maybe some of you have a more developed personal brand. And we'll just start with Downick and then go Michael, Page, Kasia, Kaylin, and Adesat.
Yeah, so during college, one of the requirements for graduating was to make a LinkedIn account. And I didn't really understand what it was for. While I was in college, I was like, this is kind of, whack. Like I'm Instagram, like I already have Instagram. Why do I have to have LinkedIn? But the more I've grown in the field and the more I've, gone to jobs, the more things I have done. But I didn't have a platform or a way of expressing and showing people these programs that I'm running. So I took LinkedIn as that opportunity. So I started posting like some of the trips that I would do with the kids, our flag football leagues, our basketball leagues, or anytime that I would get like a certification through Atlanta Falcons or Atlanta Hawks coaching certifications. And so that's what I've been doing in my LinkedIn. So I just kind of post so people know like, hey, if my son is needing a sports team or they want to join a sports, like this guy does sports in Hall County. So that's really the platform that I've been using to kind of show off what programs I'm creating, what ideas I'm bringing to the table, and in the future, if I ever do look at another job opportunity, it's kind of like a mini resume, and you have pictures, you have videos, and it's really a great platform. I really love LinkedIn, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a great way to frame it, that LinkedIn is really your real-time, live online resume, and the whole world can see it. And a lot of the directors and leaders in an industry, and Parks and Rec is no exception to this, they're on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And when they see you active and building within their industry, then your personal brand gets well known. This is just how you get yourself seen in an industry. So if you're looking to really grow inside of an industry, move up in an industry, maybe seen as a potential hire in an industry, LinkedIn is a great place to just do that networking and be seen. Michael, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would say that out of all the social media accounts, I would say Instagram is probably the one that I have the most on. But I would say that means I probably have to work on my LinkedIn a little bit. But I would say that if I was to ask people like, what am I based off my Instagram, it would probably be, you'd realize that I like business minded stuff, right? I always am into the real estate and stuff like that, and the idea of that. I love my religion. I'm Christian. I love the outdoors. I love sports, everything like that. And I think that really gets conveyed across from my Instagram the most, which I mean, I could probably post more about that on my LinkedIn. So that way employers would know a little bit more about me. Because it's more just about my prior jobs and stuff on LinkedIn. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So we call this in marketing, we call it cross-pollination, where let's just say you primarily are on Instagram or TikTok, which is kind of like the short form video. These are super powerful. The short form video, the 30-second video, the 1-minute video, are super powerful to really, in a very quickly, somebody to see what you're interested in or what you might be an expert in. But it's good for you to cross-pollinate. And a lot of times on YouTube, I'll see something that was created on TikTok and they just post that exact same thing in YouTube or X or LinkedIn. And that way, if people want to find out where your primary platform is, you post it on LinkedIn where you might have a small audience, but you have, say, a massive audience on LinkedIn. If you look up Jordan Ziff on Instagram, she is someone that we're creating a show for her. We're co-creating a show with her all about her sport. She's a former pro soccer athlete, and you'll see that she has quite a few followers on Instagram, and she's starting to build her followership on LinkedIn. And so you can kind of leverage these larger growing audiences, and really you should pick a couple of platforms that you're simultaneously building your personal brand and any of the other brands that you're working with. That's actually a good point there, Michael. Anything else, Michael?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Paige?
I've never really thought about my personal brand before. I don't think it's ever really crossed my mind. What has crossed my mind though, growing up, is I always heard, especially with social media and everything, is that your future employer is going to most likely look at your Instagram or your Facebook, and see kind of who you are, to see possibly who you would be outside of work, to kind of get a character reference from you and what you're posting. So I feel like that is important, but also kind of being authentic in what you're posting and how you're presenting yourself on LinkedIn. Because that's kind of what came to mind when y'all were talking, is just being authentic when you're trying to present a personal brand and creating one. So when I not just kind of what you think people want to see, because if you're authentic, then what's meant to be, it's going to feel right, because you're going to go into something or an interview and you'll be able to be authentic, and what you presented on your personal brand is going to be how you present yourself in person. I don't know. That's kind of what came to mind when y'all were talking, and with that.
Yeah. And you bring up some good points. Think of your personal brand as a place where you can, number one, it'll be advantageous for you to just really think about who you are and how you would like to present yourself to an industry and what your interests are. But then also communication is very important to any company. So even if you're working a Parks and Rec department, and I think a great example is a special event. So if you work in special events, many cities will have like 20 to 50, even 100 special events, and they need to get the word out so they can get good attendance. Or let's say they're doing a good program on therapeutic recreation. And so letting the community know that this program is going on so that you can kind of fill up the classroom, or that the special event is well attended. So if you build your own personal brand and you learn how to grow your own personal community and subscribers and such, the skills of growing your personal brand are really the exact same skills you would need to grow attendance for a special event, or in the marketing department, or help getting the word out. So you can kind of practice on your own personal brand, but when someone says, "Hey, we have this special event and we need to help get the word out," you'll already have some expertise and experience by building your own personal brand. So that's a skill set, a soft skill and even a hard skill, because you learn how to work the software and the platforms. Each platform has a certain degree of mastery that you have to attain. How you promote stuff on Facebook is going to be a little bit different than how you would promote things on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram. They all kind of have their own little ways. And then there's different softwares that work well with each of those. And it's just a skill that there's no other way to learn it than by just going out and doing it. And you'll see that if you start to grow your LinkedIn profile, that there's little tricks of the trade. But then when you shift over to Instagram or TikTok, it's a totally different platform that needs, it's much different on how you build community in each of those, whether you're building it for yourself or for the department that you're working for. All right, so back to personal brand, Kasia.
I'm in the same page. I'm in the same boat as Paige a bit. Um, Today was my first day logging into LinkedIn since I made it in high school, so I definitely have to go on there and tweak a few things. As far as social media, I only have TikTok currently, and I post here and there. I have a book review page where I post book reviews and stuff, but I'm not so consistent on it. Um, and then I've contemplated YouTube. I've made like 2 YouTube videos in the past, and I think it took me editing is a lot of work for YouTube. I made a video once and it took me like 9 hours to edit it, and that was it for me. But TikTok and YouTube would be the 2 social medias that I would definitely want to work on, building my personal brand on if I had to choose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that made me think of yourself as a builder versus a user, a content creator versus a subscriber. So oftentimes when we think about these platforms, we're just users of the platform. We actually are the product. And so what you want to do is kind of shift from being a user, a subscriber, a viewer, to someone that's creating on these platforms, that you're a builder of a community, you're a builder of content, you help distribute content, edit content, even work a comment section. These are totally different skill sets. It's actually it becomes a skill when you shift over into the builder category and you kind of exit the consumer of it. Okay, so I don't know if that helped out a little bit. Kaylin, you want to go next?
Okay, on personal brand, I would say I really feel paged on the social media. I currently do not have a LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure I do. I'm just not logged in, so I have to go find a way in. My my social media that has the most, I've had Twitter before it became X for sport reasons when I was in school running track. Um, Instagram is where I have most of my followers at. I don't really post much because some of my staff follow me. I don't really make a post. I'll post on my story just something small, nothing too much. Um, but on Facebook, I love Facebook. I don't know.
Mhm.
Don't laugh at me. I love a good Facebook. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Um, so on Facebook, I love Facebook. I would say I repost some of the things from our work page on there. If it has something to do with me, my department, just small things. So yes, I would say
Yeah,
my Facebook basically shows where I work
yeah.
in a way. My other social medias, it does not.
Yeah, and actually Facebook is the largest. I think they have, is it 2 billion? I wanna say they're one of the largest, if not the largest. And I would say of all the different, platforms, if you are a Parks and Rec department, you probably have spent more time on Facebook, showcasing who you are as a Parks and Rec department than any of the other platforms. LinkedIn's more about your personal brand. A lot of the Parks and Rec departments will have a LinkedIn profile, but it's not nearly as active as Facebook. Facebook's kinda where you socialize, get the word out, maybe even be
Yes.
represented as a department, whereas LinkedIn's more of a professional person-to-person kind of platform.
I would
Um
say Facebook for me is more like what you said, get the word out.
Mhm.
Um, it's more of a spread the word app.
Yep.
On Instagram, I wouldn't really repost that stuff. I don't know. I just feel like Facebook is a little more intimate with
Yeah.
getting the word out compared to other platforms.
Yeah, and I think that's by design, for them. And then as far as the shorts and stuff, that's why they bought Instagram to have that, shorts, kinda reels, component of their social media platform is, Instagram. Arasat?
Yeah, no, I have actually thought of personal brand before because I've heard like people speak about building your personal brand and using LinkedIn to connect with people and network. Um, I have a LinkedIn account. I'm not super active on LinkedIn, and I know that I should. So it's like on my own like um design. Um, yeah, I feel like sometimes I get discouraged, and when you take baby steps, and you're like, should I post this on LinkedIn? Maybe not. I think I'm one of those people that get discouraged, and I'm like, is this LinkedIn worthy enough? Like, is there a reason? Like, I just get discouraged on posting content on LinkedIn. So because of that, my LinkedIn becomes like inactive. Um, I have an Instagram too. I don't post work on Instagram or any of my other social platforms. And I like what you said about being or shifting your mindset from being a consumer to actually being um, like creating the product itself. Because I feel like when I go on social media, it's just always to like view things and not really like add my own content or add things that I'm actually actively doing. Um, but yeah, I think it's something to actually like think of like personal brand and how to like showcase who you are and what you do.
Mhm. Yeah, and just think of it this way, your future employer has the perfect job waiting for you, that your dream job is waiting for you somewhere on LinkedIn, and someone is watching. So, as you put yourself up as, so let's say you graduate, college, and you've got your college degree that somewhat certifies you to work in an industry. Let's say your degree is a Parks and Rec degree, but now no one knows about you. And then you get a part-time job or maybe a full-time job in Parks and Rec department, and maybe that department sees your skill and really appreciates it. Um, but maybe you want to go back home and get a similar job. And let's say you came from another part of the country. Well, all those people that lead in Parks and Rec now have access to be able to see you. And then when you kind of elevate yourself up to now you're a content creator or you're helping to build community within an industry, now you kind of amplify your brand even more. So the whole point in building your personal brand is when you start creating content and being seen, kind of like you're being seen right now, because this eventually works its way into 200,000 Parks and Rec. This very show will get amplified across the country. Where over 200,000 Parks and Rec professionals will see this show, or it'll end up in their feed. So you want to make sure that kind of you dress yourself up. Maybe if you're going to a big event and you want to maybe put on a coat and tie or wear a fancy dress, because this is like, a lot of people are going to be there. It's no different than preparing yourself to be seen publicly, like you're attending a big event. So you just want to kind of make sure you're dressed up appropriately in a digital way. Because when you come on a show like this or you help create content, people are going to see you. And so you may just want to say, well, you know what? I'd like people to see that I helped build and host this special event, say the big Halloween thing that Henry County, Georgia did. And then people will see you as having experience in creating, promoting, and building and hosting special events. And before you know it, you've got 12,000 people that all have special events departments throughout the cities that might be like, Paige looks like she's got some experience in special events, and so maybe we can offer her a job, or maybe see if she'd be willing to. Or you might just say, you know what, maybe you get married and your spouse has to move and you got to go with them, but you kind of want the same job in that new market that you're moving to. You've got a network of people that can kind of see who you are, what you've done, see your experience, and that will help amplify your ability to just move up in a market, or maybe move across the country and maybe do similar work. So that's why it's really important to have some consideration to your personal brand, knowing that if you come on a show like this, or if you help promote a show, or you help build a show, that you will be seen. You just want to kind of prepare for that. Let's see what else I had to talk about. Oh, well, we've already passed the 1 hour mark, so we can go ahead and close. But one thing I'd like to do is, number one, anybody that comes on the show, or if you know of anybody that also fits the similar category of yourself, like a young professional. So me and Michael and we actually have our second intern, are trying to build a growing network across the country of young professionals. And we could probably assume that there's probably 30 to 40,000 young professionals that work in the Parks and Rec industry. And we would like to be in their feed, and we would like to give them an opportunity to come on to kind of share their story. And so if y'all know of anyone that is also a young professional, then you can reach out to them and say, hey, why don't you reach out to Michael or Craig and maybe be a part on the show one day. And we can have similar conversations. So you can help us network, you can help us grow. And then if any of you are interested in working in a more meaningful level, like being part of the Young Professionals Network of DPRS Media Company, y'all are all welcome to. Again, if you know somebody that might be good for that, please help us get in touch with them. And anything else, Michael?
I don't have anything else. I think you hit it all.
Yeah. Okay. Any closing remarks from anybody? Anybody has the last things they'd like to say before we close out? All right. Well, I wanted to thank each of you for coming on the show today. Y'all, please thank Thomas for getting the people from Henry County, Georgia. He's always good at that. And as I said before, any of you are welcome to help us out every now and then, or come back on the show. And we'd love to have you as a guest. And thank y'all for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product? Growing your presence in public spaces? Targeting cities, counties, or departments? DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move Parks and Rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.